Greetings, Earth enthusiasts. If you ever wondered about the incredible perspectives our planet has to offer from high above, you're in the right place. I am Dr. Clive Coetzee, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this captivating journey into the world of remote sensing. Welcome. And please remember to like, subscribe to, and share this video. Thank you. It's been a while. I unfortunately or fortunately had to go away for a while. So for the last week and a half, I was out of the office. So my work on this channel were a bit quiet, standing still. I do apologize for it, but we're back, and we'll see if we can make it happen again. Continue with the journey. You know, now and again these sort of detours happen. But anyway, we're back. So while I was back, I had a question regarding wind farms. If you know anything about the region that I stay in, which is the west coast of South Africa, it's quite a windy area. And given that we in South Africa had load shedding, I presume some of you might not familiar with the term load shedding, but it's basically where we had intermittent electricity, 2 hours off, 2 hours on, and things like that. There's big push to tap into our wind resources to meet our energy demand. So there's 2 wind farms that's already up and running in my area, and they're trying to see if if they can expand it, etc., etc. So the issues around the wind, what's happening with the wind, specifically regarding energy production. So if we just quickly go into Earth Engine, Google Earth, you'll see there's a wind farm there. It's a little bit, you can see what you call these things, the turbines. There they're located. You can see them. It's not a massive wind farm. It's basically these 2 blocks here, that block there and that block there. That's about 100 kilometers from where I am. I'm sitting in this work in Saldanha, and that's basically located around here. And the second one is around here. It's located, you can again see there they are, all located in this specific. You can see the shade, the shadow. Sorry, not shade. This is quite a bigger one. It's like on a little hill, which is not too far from the other one. Again, about 100 kilometers. If you look at the 2, there's the Vredenburg wind farm, there's the Hopefield wind farm. This is where I basically work, and this is where I stay, which should be familiar with you. I use this area for my region of interest. So that's the 2 wind farms under consideration. Okay, so that's what we're going to work with. Now, just before we go, please, our subscriber numbers are increasing quite nice. Keep it coming, but please, I need the views, I need the hours, watching hours, I need the viewing hours. So please, do me a favor and please put these things up on a loop while you're doing other things. Just let them run so I can build up my hours watch. So please, if you can help me with that. Remember also Facebook page, you're more than welcome to join me on my Facebook page. I said please subscribe, press the buttons, the like, the subscribe button, and please, if you can, let these videos run, loop them in the playlist. Just press a playlist and let them run in the background, so that would help with my views and my hours. So if I can ask that very much, please. Okay, so again, I go to my trusted Earth Engine. There it sits, all familiar with that. The database that I'm going to use is the ERA5 Land Monthly Aggregated Climate Reanalysis. It's a beautiful database in terms of its frequency. It's from 1950 to 1924, so it's very long. It gives you brilliant time horizon for your analysis. It's a pity about the resolution. The spatial resolution is very low, so it doesn't cover a very detailed granular area, but nonetheless, I presume you can't have everything in life perfect. We would like to, but not always the case. So if I scroll down on all the bands. You'll see there's two bands that I'm looking for. It is the U component of Wind 10 and V component of Wind 10. Both are in meters of second. So the first one is the eastward component. The 10 meters basically just measuring the wind, as I said, at a height of 10 meters. So that's where the 10 meters. So they're measuring the wind speed at a height of 10 meters. In both instances, the one is in the eastern component. As I said, it is wind observation small. It's towards the east, so it goes from yeah, towards the east, not away from the east, towards the east. Um, and the other one is the northward component. So east and north, which is anyway our prevailing wind directions where I stay. It's mostly the southerly, eastern is southeasterly wind. It's a dry, warm winds, and then the northern wind comes over the ocean, which is normally our rain wind. So this is typically 90% of our wind comes from the eastern side, and northern side is just the rain winds, which is located June and July. Anyway, so that's the two bands that we basically gonna have a look at. Okay, so now that we know our data set, we've got our bands. Now we're actually ready to go and generate the data. Okay, so first thing first, as always. I create my region of interest, my ROI. There's my ROI, which is basically my municipal area, which is Saldanha Bay area, which is this whole area. Not sure why it's not properly loaded. Let me just delete that one there, and it should be that one there. Okay, let me just call it ROI, like it's in the script. Let's run it again. My ROI should now appear here, which is just my municipal area here, and I'm not sure why it's struggling. Why is it not? Okay, so it doesn't want to do that one. Don't know why it doesn't want to. Saldanha Bay shapefile. There it sits, Saldanha Bay shapefile. Saldanha Bay shapefile, ROI and yellow. So why is it not displaying? Anyway, not a train smash. That's not really much of an issue, but I like to put my municipal area or my big area that I'm working on. I would like to display it. So that's Roy M color. Submit. You see, it's come on. So that's actually Roy. So that is actually var. I'm not gonna cancel about that. That's come on. Just do another R there. And that is going to be Roy M. Sorry, I just had it confused. So that's Roy M is my, I'll tell you now, okay? So it should work now. Perfect. Should work, Roy. Ah, come on. What is it with this code? Why is it giving me so much problems? Why is it giving me so much? Ah, there we go. Eventually, hallelujah. Trying to be too quick, not making sure that I've got it correct. Okay, let it be a lesson for you. So there's my ROI, my region of interest, which is the Saldanha Bay municipal area. There is my two locations. That is the Vredenburg wind farm there, and that is the Hopefield wind farm there. Let's just quickly confirm. If I take that, you'll see that's the Hopefield one. You can see there is the wind turbines. There they sit. There's another one there, which is basically this one that sits here. So that's that wind farm. You can see there's that little power, whatever little house there. If I go here, you'll see. Come on. You'll see there's that little powerhouse there. And then we've got the the Vredenburg one. It's really annoying slow. We've got the Vredenburg one, which is located, you can see there, there's it. Okay, so there's my two Roys. Okay, let's run it again. Oh, there's my two wind farms. I've got my region of interest, which is a municipal area, and I've got my two wind farms there. Okay, so that's the first thing I do is to add my map, center my map around, or center my layer around this layer, my region of interest. Now I need to go and define my two wind farms. Okay, so these two wind farms I need to define now. Okay, so I'm going to create two Roys. Okay, each will be a point. Okay, each will be a point. So they're not a vector, they're not a line, they are a point. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. So the first one is I name it, name dot in those little thingamajigs, Hopefield for this one here, and Vredenburg for that one there. And again, those names are discretionary. Geometry, okay, double point ee.geometry.point because it's a point, and then the coordinates of that point. Okay, the coordinates Latin along for each of these point locations. And I simply just use my add a marker. Okay, so it's very simple. So you identify a location. Let me do anyone. So let me say this location here. I just go to add a marker and I go into that location where I want to do, and I just left click. Remember, left click, and left click, and there it sits. And you'll see it will be added here on top here. You see it now, 3 elements. And there is the coordinates of that third. So I just basically copy it and I just basically paste it in here. Okay, so that's how easy it is. Now I've got that now. Okay, so but we're not obviously gonna, that's not a wind farm there. So I'm gonna go into this one here. And then, okay, so let's see if I can cancel that one here. So let's exit, there it sits. See if I can, so let's see if I can delete that actual point here. Let me see point, let me see if I can delete this one. And how do I don't know whether I can delete this. I need to delete this. Normally I just delete the whole thing. Normally I just delete the whole thing, but I don't know whether I can delete a particular so let's quickly see. I've done it in the past, but I just can't remember exactly how. Okay, that's open. You see it's open. And then point drawing. And why can't I delete it? Okay, so it doesn't want to do that. So I have to delete. Do I have to delete the whole thing? Delete. Are you sure? Okay. So now it's everything is deleted. Okay, so I don't have it. You can see it's not in there. So not to worry. I basically just go back into this. I know where the locations are. Let me put it on satellite just to make sure. So there's my locations. And I just go to marker. And I plunk one there. And I open it up. Copy its Latin long, paste it in there. That is the Vredenburg one. And done. Then I will go to Hopefield, which is here. This is where it sits. And I will go marker, plonk it down there. And there is the second coordinates, Latin long. I copy that, and that will be my Hopefield. Paste it in there, and voila, done. So that's how easy it is to create my regions of interest. Let me just run it and save it. That is how easy it is to create my regions of interest, or my 2-point locations. There's my region of interest, which is the municipal area. There's my 2-point locations. I use my marker. I just left click where I want to locate these between markers, and I go to the geometry here on top, and I just collect the lat and long. And voila, there we go. So now I've defined my region of interest. I defined my 2 wind farms. Now I need to go and define my period that I'm looking for, that I want to work with. I've got a start date, which is 1950. And again, I go into my data set. You'll see it's 1950. In fact, it's in fact the second month. It goes to 2024-09. So let's just make sure it is right. Let's go and make it 02. And it goes to 09, but just in case it's not, it's the details are not updated. The data is updated, but not the details. The data is updated, but not the date here. I'm just putting it in 2010. So there's my frequency. There's my spatial frequency. My frequency resolution. Okay. So now I need to calculate my months. Okay. Because if I want to do a time series chart like this, I just want to make sure that I've got all my months. So let's just calculate the months number, date, the date difference between the start date from month. Okay. So that will basically calculate the difference from the start date and the end date. Remember, there's the start date and the end date. So the end date minus the start date, it is in months, round it, and just give me that number, which is 898, almost 900 months within this period here. So that's quite a long time horizon for us to work, which is obviously very, very ideal. Okay. So now we've got our basic programming, our basic script is in place. Now what we want to do is to go and say which our data set. So that's our data set. Remember, this is discretionary. I just called it data set, but again, that's up to you. You can call it whatever. And it's an image collection. And this is the name of the image collection. You can see there at the bottom here when you go into, so there's the code or the title or the ID of this data set. So I just copy and paste it in there, and then I'm going to filter it from the beginning to the end. Okay, there's my band. Okay, there's my band. So that's my ID of the data set. And then here is the band name. I just basically copy it and paste it. Okay, cool. There's no scaling needed, but I always just build in a scaling factor, because in many cases with these environmental data sets, there's going to be scaling. Whether it is, and the scalings are normally indicated in the landing page of each data set. Okay, so always just make sure that you understand what the scaling is. In our case, there's no scaling, so I just multiply it by 1, but I like to build in a scaling. That is just to make sure that if there's a scaling, that I have the necessary script to build to generate the scaling. Okay, so if I want to multiply it by 10, then I can just make it multiply by 10, or divide by 10. I just multiply it by 0.1. That's divide by 10. Okay, so in this case, there's no scaling needed, so I just leave it. So this is optionally. You don't have to do this, but as I said, I prefer to build in that for if there's scaling needed. And a lot of databases do require scaling. Then if this data set is weekly data or daily data or whatever data, not monthly data, because remember we're going to display it in monthly data, but if it's not, if it's daily data, 8-day data or weekly data or something to that effect, then I just built in a bit of a script to generate the mean monthly data rather than just the actual weekly data and stuff, to convert it. Okay, and I'm using the by month, so reduce the data set to monthly means. Okay, there we go. By month, list the sequence, number of months, and then start date, month, advanced by month, and here's the data scaled. the values that we just add. And it is the mean, and we can, it shouldn't be a, if it's 8 day or mean, because if it's daily data, then there could be a difference between the mean and the median. If the data is monthly, then obviously it makes absolutely no change, because monthly mean and monthly median would be the same. If it's weekly data, maybe, but I doubt. If it's bi-week, 8 daily data, it's 3 data sets in a month, it's most probably also not going to make a difference. So in my case, it's not going to make a huge difference whether you use the mean or the median. However, if it was daily data, then it for sure that could make a difference between having the mean. So here we're reducing the daily data or the weekly data to monthly data using our mean reducer. So that's the script that we're using there. Obviously, if it's monthly data, then this is not needed. Okay, so if it's monthly data, then it's not needed. But in this case, it doesn't actually say whether it is. Let's have a look at the description. I think it's reduced laying asset. The asset is a monthly aggregate. Yeah, so it's monthly data. So it's actually not. So that's the aggregate. But if you exclude the aggregate, I think. So let's quickly do this one in. Just that. Let's go Google Add for data sets, because I think, why did I build in a reducer, monthly reducer? Yeah, because it's a monthly average by hour of day. So then it's written down consisting view evaluations. So I think this is the original one, which is not aggregated. So that's why I say there is two, and I can vaguely remember that the one you need to, if you want to not display the actual frequency, and you want to convert the frequency into monthly, you have to do this reducer, build this reducer. Anyway, there we go. And the next one is we're just going to generate the time series chart. So there's our time series here. The image collection is by month. Where does this by month come from? This is this part here that I've built. So we're going to display that. The Roy geometry, reducer by mean, the scale, and here's just the details of the graph. And we're going to generate it for both Roys. Okay, so we're going to generate it for both Roys. So it's a looping function. It's a looping function that we've built here. So we loop this for both Roys. Okay, so that's Roy's, that's a Roy. So both of these two. And then we basically just remember to save and we say run. Okay, so there's our two charts. There is our two time series charts. There's our two time series charts. So that's the Hopefield one and that's the Vredenburg one. You can, well, it's very difficult to look at them and make any meaningful analysis just here, because it's a huge amount of data squashed into a very small little period. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to convert that into CSV, into Excel, and then from Excel we can then do work further. So let's quickly do that. So I'm just going to put it, and where are we going to work with this? Let me just see. So I'm going to go to my project folder. Let's just create a new folder here and set it's a wind dot, and I'm going to save it here. Which one is this now? This is the Hopefield. So we'll just say wind, because we're going to merge them now. And we're going to go save, and then I'm going to close it, and then we're going to go to the Vredenburg one. And I'm going to download, and I'm going to call this Vredenburg. I actually should have called that other one. I should have called that other one Vredenburg Hopefield. Okay, so let's just redo that one. And I'm going to do this one here. So I'm going to do download. And I'm going to say it is Hopefield. Okay, Hopefield, sorry. Spelling Hopefield. Okay, so let's open this one here. The spreadsheet. At some point it's going to open. There we Okay, so now, so this is Hope field. We need to CSV format. I have to split it, so I highlight that column. Because remember, if all the data is now in column 1, I want to split it so that it is in its date and its actual value. And that's meters per second. That's 0.4 meters. I think we most probably will have to scale this because 0.47 does not seem right. It's more like 4 and 4. So I think there needs to be scaling by 10. Anyway, we can either now do the scaling within um, uh, within Earth Engine. So I'm going to do that 10 and run it. But I've already generated the spreadsheet, so I'll just do that in Excel itself. So I just highlight the data, go to data, I go to text to columns, delimitate it, and it is with a comma. You'll see that's the comma that it is should split the columns. And I'm just going to say finish. And why is it not doing that? And let's go delimit it. Oh, I didn't choose a comma, so it is a comma. You'll see now, and I just press it, and voila, and there it goes. So I need, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so this is Hope field. So what I'm going to do is go copy there, and I'm just going to create another file now here. So this is a new file, and I'm going to just paste it in there. So this is, which one was that now? That is Hope field. Okay, so I'm just going to say Hope field, Hope field, Hope field, and I think that this data set starts in 1 February. Okay, so it's 1 February. So um, let's do 1 February, 1 February 1950. And then we just, okay, so nope. So that is 1 March 1950. And then now highlight down there, it should be fine. We're going to say it is the date. Let's just open this a little bit, make it there, do this. Let's have a look at the bottom to see where it ends, October 2024. You see, that's not, that must be an error. But nonetheless, okay, so the next one would be then for Vredenburg. Let's quickly go in there. Let's have a look. Where's Vredenburg there? Let's open it. Also, first want to convert this data into the different columns. So I highlight it, I go to data, I go to text to columns, eliminate it. Next, and the comma, finish. Copy this. And sorry, it's going to be now do this and then put the Vredenburg. Okay. So there we go. So I've got the two data sets. There's a couple of things that I want to do. I need to convert all the commas in the dots into commas. So let me, before I go, let me just save this. Browse. We're going to go to where I was just now. To my view from space, and wind speed will be at the end. There's WindTut, and I'm just gonna save it as a Excel workbook, and I'm just gonna say data set. Save it. Okay, I need to get rid of the points because it is seen as a as text and not as a number. So I'm going to go to find what, find all the dots, replace it by commas, replace all. That's done. Then what I want to do further, I wanted to create two separate columns here. One is for month and one is for year. The reason, if I do pivots, I can do a lot of other things. So that is February March, etc. Let's see if I can just do this. It should, yep, it's all good. That is 1950. Oops, 1950. Now I'm just going to bring it down to this and then say that is 1951, and then that is now equal to uh, that plus 1, and then I'm just going to do this, and then it should also run through to 2031. That doesn't make sense. December. Yeah, there's something wrong here. 1951. Where does it move? Yeah, there's 52. There's 53. 54. Okay, so that's supposed to jump now. Okay, so there's something wrong here. So that's January 51. Okay. December. That's right. So why is it saying? Okay, so this must. So what's happening here? There's October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. No. So why is, okay, so it's jumped. Why is it making 93 here? Okay, so it's because of this missing January here. So I'll either make that 1950, make that 1951, drag that down to December, and then say this one is 1951 plus 1. And let's see now. It should work. Let's go down. Voila, it's worked. It's just because of that January that's missing. And that's it. Let's save. Okay, so now what we can do is we can put these two on a graph. Let's put it on a graph. We're going to say insert, and we're going to go. There we go. So let's just cut that one, and let's put it up here. And we're going to make it obviously bigger. Get rid of a lot of these open spaces. So we're going to right click here and make the top value, the maximum is 2,5, and the lowest will be 2,0. And there we go. It definitely seems like it's not that different from one another. But we can do the statistics now, and but you get the idea. Now we can do trend analysis, we can do monthly analysis, see which months and have the month change, and there's actually a whole lot of things that we can do now from Excel. But as I always say, everything starts in Earth Engine. Everything starts in Earth Engine. Now, within Earth Engine, we can also now generate, let me just save. Within Earth Engine, we can now generate all sorts of things, descriptive statistics, everything. But I said my purpose of Earth Engine was to get the data. Now that I've got the data and I've got an Excel, I'm going to continue working in Excel with it. Okay. So that may or may not be your modus operandi, but I certainly prefer to do the work in Excel and not in Earth Engine simply because it's easier, it's much more efficient for me anyway, my view, than working in Earth Engine. But Earth Engine is done it. So what I want to do now as well, so remember this is now if I go into, this is now for the sorry, this is now for, is it the month in the southerly direction, the easterly direction? Come on. Oh man. This is for the easterly direction. Come on. This is for the easterly direction. I also now need to do it for the northerly direction. So I'm just going to go copy, and then I'll just change it there to say, I'm just going to make a little note here to say it is V and U. V, I'm just going to say V or U component. So now I'm going to make it a V component, and I'm going to run it again. Let's see. And remember I've built in the scale factor now. So one thing that I haven't done here is to do the scaling factor. So let's someone do that was equal. I'm just going to say that. Let me not do that there. Equals that times 10. The reason why I'm doing this, I can just do this. If I had the open space, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I'm just going to copy it, and I paste it special in there, and there is my scaled values. Now obviously I need to go and rescale my axis here because I need to go and do that. So let me just go format axis and make that 0 and make that 0, and voila, and there we go. So there is my scaled values. It does seem you don't know which is the highest and which is lowest, but the point is, let me save it. I can now do, and for example, I can go into data, I'm going to insert, and I can go into a pivot, and I can create a pivot. So for example, I can do yearly values for both, and I'm not going to do the sum. It's going to be the average. So that's the average per year. I don't like, let's change the graph into a line graph. There we go. So there's my line graph. And you can see it's difficult, does seem like there's like a constant trend. There seems to be a fairly stable variance. Seems like the last couple of years the wind has sort of decreased. And we can also do a monthly one. So there's my months. So you can clearly see January down July and into December. And what I can do further, I can actually bring the year in there. And then what I can do is in the year, I can go and add a slicer and then say just 1950 and 24 and 1950. So there's the wind per month for 1950, and there's the wind in 2024, and you can actually compare the months, etc., etc. You can swap them around. If that doesn't, okay, so there's 2000. Yeah, so that's January. So that's 25th, 1950 of February. 2024, much more wind than in 1950. March, much more wind than in 1950. In April, less wind than in 1950, etc., etc. So that's why I wanted to build in these two variables, because it gives you much more detail in terms of presenting the data. But yeah, it looks quite snazzy. So we're gonna just then go there, and I'm just gonna take the month out, put the month back. That is now the years, etc., etc. So nice to play around with. Very nice. I can just move that. Let's just move this here. Come on, I'm gonna move this there. Then I can actually take this and move it a bit up. We can make it a bit bigger, and we can give it some. We can give it some color and. We can change the. Yeah, let's not leave it for that. Okay, but anyway, I think I can go on. It's gonna be in 3-4 hours. Tutorial if I go on like this. Let me just stop here. But yeah, gives you a nice indication of the wind farms, etc., etc. Okay, so let me pause there for now. Let me thank you again. Let's first again apologize for being so late, for being late to the party, so to speak, for not having done much. I do apologize. Should be a little bit more. I haven't forgotten about our image classification. We still got quite a bit of work to do. We'll still continue with that, and so forth and so forth. Again, if you can, just go to playlist, press any of this playlist and let them just run in the background. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to do anything. Let them just run so I can build up the hours and the views. It will help a tremendous lot. So if you can do that for me. So with that said, thank you again. Appreciate. And I'll see you on the other side.